It's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a green thing. And I just kept saying it to myself over and over and over. We reviewed the account. Every position in the account is of huge. I closed the folder, I looked the man in the eye, and I say, you know what? It's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a green thing. He looks me in the eye and he says, you know what, son? You're right. On the spot, he closed accounts at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Solomon Brothers. I did all his business till the day he died, and he stopped telling me them damn nigga jokes. Then he started telling me knock-knock jokes. And he just liked jokes, all right? But let me put all this in perspective, if I can. Man, who knew? Sony tells me 1 billion people around the world have seen the film The Pursuit of Happiness. Who knew? The book, 25 weeks on the New York Times bestsellers list, 9 weeks at #1, has just been translated into its 40th language. Who knew? Nobody knew. I didn't know. One person knew, and that one person was Dr. Maya Angelou. And she got me straight from the very beginning when she told me, you know what, son? This ain't even about you. This is the story of every father who ever had to be a mother, every mother who ever had to be a father, and everybody who ever had a dream and would not quit. This ain't even about you. And when Dr. Angelou puts something to you like that, there's only one thing for you to say. Yes, ma'am. Got it. Real clear on it. Movie, great book, great business, great. But the most important thing I've ever done in my life is to have broken the cycle of men who are not there for their children. That is absolutely the most important thing I've ever done. And I say that for two reasons. My son, my daughter. My son, 28 years old, finally gets it that the most important thing about being a man is being responsible. My daughter understands how a man should treat her, respect her, and deal with her.
Very good.
Because of those two folks, I'm going to have influence on generations of my offspring that I probably will never meet. I probably won't be here to meet my great-grandchildren. But I will tell you this, I'm still getting comfortable with this. About 2 years ago, I did meet my first grandchild. And let me tell you something. Man, let me tell you something. When you meet that first grandbaby, that changes everything. The first thing that changes is your child becomes obsolete. That's the first thing that happens. Anytime my son shows up without my granddaughter, I look at him like he owed me money. The other thing that happens, when you've been blessed to live long enough to meet that first grandchild, you got to accept something. You have to accept that there have been more yesterdays than there will be tomorrows. And when you accept that, you have to accept that there is more that unites us than there is that separates us. So when I stand here and I speak of breaking these cycles of child abandonment, child abuse, domestic violence, or some of the more subtle cycles, fear, poverty, illiteracy, powerlessness, the name of the cycle doesn't matter, because someone else in this room made the same decision that I did. Somebody else in this room made a decision that whatever was an issue, a challenge, or a problem for me is not going to become generational and get passed on to my children. Somebody else in this room made the same decision. And the last thing that I want to say up here is this. After you sell $400 million worth of tickets to a film, you create something called a franchise. There will be a sequel, and I will see you at the movies. Thank you guys so much for having me here.